We've got Austin attorney Adam Loewy on Good Day Austin this morning to talk politics. We tried to have you on last Sunday, but technology failed us. So thanks for coming on again.
Thanks, Casey. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So before viewers start wondering why is Austin attorney Adam Loewy talking about politics, well, you're passionate about it. You tweet about it, and you have some interesting thoughts, and it gets a lot of traction. Why do you love politics?
I've always been involved with politics. I think politics can help make people's lives better. I'm very active locally in politics, and I think that we are living in a time, as we just saw with this election, in which more people than ever are very engaged with politics, and I think that is very good for our democracy.
Well, let's start with the national election. Joe Biden has been declared the president-elect. Was that surprising or no?
Well, I think if you look at the polls, and I know the polls had their issues this time, but it seemed pretty consistent that he was going to win. I think it was a lot closer than people thought, but it's a big moment. I mean, here we just elected the oldest person ever who's going to be president. He's a guy who's been in D.C. for nearly 50 years. And if you look at the popular vote and the Electoral College, obviously, most people in this country, the majority of people, wanted a change. But the fact is that President Trump got well over 70 million votes. And so I think that the divisiveness and the division of the last few years and really last decade are not going away anytime soon.
Right. Well, let's bring it back to Texas. Let's bring it back to Austin. Locally, Austin City Council, there's a couple of races that are going into runoffs, and these are districts that are swing districts. So it's possible a slightly more conservative candidate may beat incumbents Jimmy Flanagan or Allison Alter. What's your take on that?
I think they're fascinating runoffs. You know, we used to have nonpartisan city council races, and with the result of 10-1, now everyone is very clearly saying they're a Democrat or Republican. So here we have two runoffs in which the incumbents, council member Alter and Flanagan, are clearly Democrats, and the opposition, Mackenzie Kelly and Jennifer Verdon, are clearly Republicans. So I think that it is very interesting politically here. I think the incumbents have the advantage just by being incumbents and by being Democrats. But the fact is this, is that runoffs are very strange creatures. Crazy things can happen. It's all about whose base is motivated more. And I think when you look at just what happened in the election, you had enormous turnout. I don't think you will see that in December. And the question is going to be who can get their people to the polls. I think these are going to be very close runoffs. And I personally think we're going to see an upset in one of them.
I want to get your perspective statewide. You're a longtime Democrat, and this is kind of something that you tweeted the other day. And I wanted to get your perspective on it. Texas didn't go blue. Why didn't you think it went blue?
Well, I think that, first of all, this is a red state. We had always heard for years that some would say this is a non-voting state, that because people don't vote, it's red. That thesis has been blown out of the water. This was record turnout, and it's still red, even though Democrats have made great gains in the past 20 years. I think the real question that people need to think about in the Democratic Party is there is clearly a divide now between the moderate wing of the party and the progressive left. And while we agree on many things, and we agree on most things, there is some strong division between the two. And I think we're seeing this play out in Austin with the rise of someone like Greg Kazar, who is clearly on the far left, who's been able to gain enormous power in the city council, and he's able to get basically anything he wants passed through. But we're seeing statewide that a lot of Democrats that are successful are more moderate. And I think that there's going to be a real debate in the party heading into the next election as to what we want the vision of the party to be. And I think this is going to be some very, very contentious primary fights, similar to what we saw with the Tea Party 10 years ago in the Republican Party. And it's going to have to get played out, and we're going to see what direction the party's going to go.
Austin attorney Adam Loewy, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Casey.